Hey guys, I want to talk about insomnia today, and it's actually not really. There's an airplane. You don't hear much out here in the country, in the rural ranch that I live on. So when you hear something like an engine, you're like, what's going on? There's something really nice about it. So yeah, insomnia is kind of a word that will drop from your vocabulary after a certain amount of time, because as you evolve, you're not going to see when you're not sleeping as like a condition that you have to label. You know, a big part of letting go of the negativity towards not sleeping at night is seeing through like our conditioning that says you gotta get this many hours of sleep every night to feel good, and if you're not getting that much sleep, then it's a problem, you know. As your latent energies, your latent life force starts to wake up, first of all, you're not gonna need as much sleep. This is why beings like Sadhguru can go, 4 hours without, can go like function very highly with only 4 hours of sleep. And that's kind of what he prefers, just to sleep for 4 hours, if that. And then, he has this busy day of speaking, and there's mixed feelings about him as a being, right? But this is really common amongst yogis. And this is what happens when you get into more of a surrendered state in general. There's less of a need to recover so much, because you're not spending all day resisting life. And that, because when we resist life, that really wears us down. And that's why so many people need a lot of sleep. But as your energy body starts to heal, as you start to release heaviness, as you start to release the trauma from your body, the things that are just like, weighing you down, you don't need as much sleep, and you're not concerned. You don't get concerned when you're not sleeping, because you see it actually for what it is. You see it as an energetic activation, like more of you is waking up. And so last night, I didn't go to sleep until 4 a.m. And let me be clear, not sleeping and staying up all night becomes a lot less common, and you don't, because you get more integrated with the energy, and you don't have as many huge openings, at least in my experience, as you go on in years on this path. So it's not as much of a thing, but when it does happen, it's kind of like an inner celebration. Like last night, I was really rejoicing in the fact, like, wow, this is beautiful. All of this life force is coming online. Like I had so much energy pulsating through my body. Sleeping was just not in the cards at all. And I knew that. I've had a lot of experience with this. So I got up and I made a video. I answered a question for someone like in the middle of the night. And that's more the thing, is like you just start to accept, like, oh, I'm not gonna sleep. Because this metamorphosis, it doesn't care about your sleep schedule that much, It doesn't even know about it. It's a psychological construct. It's the mind that is really conditioned to think you need to be sleeping at certain hours and you need this much sleep. It can kind of freak that part out when you're not sleeping, and it can stress that part out. It can make that part go into a lot of worry. But this is a gift, because it's helping you see that part of yourself that you're not. You're not the one who's worried about it. And so this can help you actually release conditioning. And that's what any energy activation is doing. It's like when heaven starts to wake up in you, when light starts to wake up in you, it's going to shine the light on the hell that was there, that was residing there prior. And when we're subscribed to programming rooted in fear and worry, that's a hell realm. So insomnia is like this kind of wake up I know, I didn't even mean to use that pun. Insomnia can be like this wake-up call to show you what you need to let go of in your life. To show you, you don't have to, like, if we can get through the doorway of not being afraid of not sleeping, we're gonna feel a lot more peace in our life, in all areas. I remember this when I was first going through insomnia and it was driving me nuts. I was like freaking out. And I've Googled it in the past, like the metaphysical reason for insomnia, the inability to let go. And so that's what insomnia does. It shows us where we're not letting go. It's like, can we let go of that paradigm, of that idea that we need X amount of X amount of hours of sleep to be okay? And you'll notice if you let go of those ideas and you just make peace with the fact that you're not sleeping, you're gonna find this capacity to rest. And so you'll be residing more in the state of peacefulness, of like, oh, I'm safe, it's okay. Because a lot of the suffering of insomnia isn't even necessarily the not sleeping. It's more that psychological layer of worry and fear about it and panic and hysteria. It's like that causes the suffering, that like layer of thought force about it. Of like, this shouldn't be happening, this is a problem. What do I need to do to fix this right now? How do I get out of this? I hate this. It's like that's where a lot of the suffering and exhaustion actually comes from. And that's just in general, that's where exhaustion and suffering comes from, is just stress. That's why I say when you let go of stress, when you let go of fear out of your body, you don't really need to sleep as much. You can. Sometimes I enjoy sleeping for like 8 or 10 hours just because it feels good. Sometimes. But most of the time it's like nowhere near that amount. And it's just like, okay, the body will sleep when it needs to sleep. It's really simple. So if you're not getting sleep, let go of the fear about it and just let yourself rest. Rest is the key here. And so insomnia is showing you kind of programming and fears about yourself that, you're not able to let go of. And so insomnia is a gift. Insomnia is like an influx of light. It's like an influx of life force energy. And it will take time for you to kind of recalibrate to so much light in your system to be able to hold it, to be able to kind of feel at rest with it, right? So it's a process. And insomnia is like this initiation into discovering your strength. I remember how much strength I had to cultivate when it was really wigging me out. And that's the thing about insomnia too. It's like, because you're going through a massive metamorphosis and there's this influx of light, and that's why you can't sleep. It's like your nervous system is just charged with light, right? A lot of the thing about insomnia isn't, like I said, isn't necessarily that you're not sleeping. The second part of it is, it's what you're having to feel through when you're not sleeping. Because this light, it's gonna bring up your deepest, darkest stuff, your shadow. Just really at times challenging feelings to be with. So it's kind of like not necessarily you're not sleeping. It's like what you're being forced to be with, right? And that's where the strength comes in. It's like, you guys have the strength, you have the power to be with those feelings. And this is a discovery process. You're discovering who you really are through these kind of initiations that test you, that are really difficult, that take you past what you thought you could bear. You have to get in touch with who you really are. You have to get in touch with the part of you that's not afraid of it, that knows you're okay deep down. And then you have to start living from there. That's the gift of anything difficult on this path. It forces you to live from a deeper depth. And you all have that place in you. And so things that are really hard for you are trying to help guide you there to connect to those parts of yourself. The part of you that knows you're powerful enough to get through anything in this life. The part of you that outlives every experience. And so it is a rite of passage into claiming your power. Let me see if I forgot anything. I wrote a bunch of stuff down. Yeah. Like nothing has gone wrong. That's a big one. Everything's going right for you. You're waking up. It's a sign that you're going through massive and rapid spiritual growth. That's what insomnia is at the end of the day. You are evolving really fast. It's a great sign. You're waking up. More energy is coming online. Your consciousness is trying to speak to you. It's trying to wake you up out of the dream of being identified with your fear programming. Sometimes it has to keep you up all night. Yeah, it just takes time for the body to recalibrate. I basically said it all. That's usually the case. It's an initiation into strength and surrender. We have to surrender. That's the key. That's when you start sleeping again, is when you surrender and become okay with not sleeping. And when you really, really, really in your heart come to this place where it's not a problem for you anymore. It might be uncomfortable, it might be inconvenient, but you've tapped into a certain depth of power and strength and surrender where it's not a problem and it's okay, and you give it to the divine and you let yourself rest regardless of whether you're sleeping or not. You let yourself rest in your beingness no matter if you're sleeping or not. And that's the key. And if it takes you there, then it did its job. You know, anything that's hard is just trying to take you into a deeper depth. It's just trying to help you connect to beingness, to a undisturbable peace and an unshakable strength. It's like trying to birth those, it's like trying to birth that peace and that quality of strength within you. So I hope this helps. Hope this is empowering. Sending you guys love and light. Until the next one, namaste.